Chat GPT basically has 7 different functions on what they can do and do really well. The first one is very simple, what we discussed before. It's the search engine functionality. And that is, what is the distance between, DC and New York? Really simple, 1 sentence answer. Basically, I actually say this because you will probably start using this more to replace Google in 1 sentence prompts. Like, find me a restaurant in New York. It will do that, within 1 second. The other thing that's very, very good, you could definitely add some more tone. You can say casual, warm. You could say tough. You can also say temperature. So ChatGPT has a temperature between 0.1 and 0.9. 0.1 is very flowery, very light, very airy. 0.9 is aggressive and very to the point, blah, blah. 0.5 is what your ChatGPT settings on currently. So if you want to put in a prompt, let me go back up to here and say, let's use this one, edit temperature 0.9, save and submit. It'll change it a bit and make it a little bit more direct. The second thing that it's really good at is generating lists. Lists upon lists upon lists upon lists. Let's see if we do this. Okay, so you can ask, let's send me 100 jokes. Send me 100 ideas for fundraising campaigns. Does not matter. It will put it together, right? You can then, after you ask it for a specific list, you can say, let's let this finish. All right. Give me 5 more ideas, and it will do that. So list, fun list, your search engine. Then the third part is long form written prompts. What does that mean? That means emails, essays, articles, music, poetry, whatever it may be. I use the email function all the time. Write me an email explaining why Orr Group webinars are so much fun. Actually, this would be a great one. Write me an email thanking everyone for joining Orr Group's webinar on AI. Please make it 2 paragraphs and casual, warm tone. All right, so I find it's great with emails. If you want to write an article, it's great to do that. It will do anything you want in terms of writing. This is probably the most functional use of ChatGPT is its writing, particularly around emails, articles. It also does like legal documents. So if you want like policies, legal documents, write me a lease document on a new apartment that I am looking at on 311 Madison Avenue. Sure, it'll do it. That's kind of like what an example lease agreement would look like, but you're going to use this for grant agreements, acknowledgement letters, any internal policies, internal HR policies, welcome letters, whatever it may be. I'm going to stop this from generating, as I'm sure nobody wants to see a lease agreement on 331 Madison. So this, again, I think is the best thing about ChatGPT. Now, this fourth thing that ChatGPT does is critiques or gives feedback on writing. So what I do a lot, what I like is I just say, write this email better. Hi, John. Great meeting yesterday. So great to hear about your work on AI. So cool. Let's stay in touch. So horribly written, right? What Chat GPT will just make it better. They give feedback and immediate critique. So anytime you're struggling with writing or want something to be written better, you play eject Chat GPT, pull it back out, and then rewrite it wherever you want. The fifth prompt is called modifications. That translate, lengthens, or paraphrases. So translate the above in Spanish. I don't know any Spanish, but if I wanted to learn, sure, here would be a great spot to do it. It can translate anything. Actually, I'm not sure about all the different languages that it does, but I'm sure it has many. You can also ask to paraphrase. So if you copy and paste an article in here and just say paraphrase it to the top points, it will give you a list. You know, thesis was this, supporting documents was XYZ, 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 and the final conclusion is XYZ. So I like modification prompts as well. I like guided prompts. This is for, like, for example, I want you to build me an invoice or a donor profile. It will make those for you. So let's use make me a donor invoice with 30,000 donation, and it was given last week. Also include acknowledgement and thank you. So this is really simple. I know a lot of folks do these with acknowledgement letters all the time. If you actually plug in your organization in here, you can you can put your details in here. So, like, for example, let me stop generating and I'll say this is coming from Orr Group. Please include my address. So then you can make it from Orr Group. You can make it from your organization, whatever. That's interesting. It actually doesn't have my address. A lot of times it does. Most of the time it'll plug in your own address there. So that's something that's very easy to do, and you can then copy and paste this into a Word document. And you can also change the format. If you say, actually, I'd like, donation details and donation acknowledgement to be 2 columns instead of 1 continuous column, it can do that. It can do anything you want. Also, it can export to SSV. So you can take any like chart that it gives you, and in your prompt, just say export to CSV, and it will provide the instructions on how to copy and paste into Excel. So that's, I'm sure, very useful on a number of fronts, and that we've been kind of poking into and trying to figure out how to use. The last thing that I'm going to say is therapy. The last kind of thing that Chat GPT does is it gives advice, and generally anything you're dealing with, it will be helpful in answering. On how to make my webinar funnier. Okay. Self-deprecation, I like that. Okay. Relevant anecdotes. See, these are all the things I haven't done. No, well, we have some funny images later, and we will do that to make this webinar funnier. Anyway, it gives example or therapy rather advice on anything you want. So you can put in personal things, you can put in work-related things. It does not matter. It will produce whatever kind of advice or thoughts you want. Whether you take that advice is up to you. Anyway, so those are the 7 different things that I found that Chat GPT can do, and I am sure that I'm not doing all of it. However, I thought that would be just a good primer.